what if I told you that bulking, something lifters swear by, may not be the most efficient way to build muscle? We've heard it all before, eat big to get big. But what if I told you that eating in a massive surplus might just be making it that bit harder for you to gain lean muscle in the long run? Today we're breaking down the science behind bulking and why eating everything in sight isn't the magic formula for muscle hypertrophy. Hi everyone, welcome back. If we've not met before, I'm Lockie, a final year sport and exercise science student at Oxford Brookes University. I've had over 4 years of resistance training experience and just about the same time in the world of researching sport and exercise. And today we're tackling what I thought was the most obvious concept in the world of fitness, and that's bulking. For years, the idea has been that to gain muscle, you need to be in a significant caloric surplus, or just a caloric surplus in general. So then you'll gain muscle and fat, and then cut the fat off later and keep the muscle you gained during the bulk. But I'm going to tell you how you can achieve similar amounts of muscle gain without the fat gain, ultimately making your cutting a lot more simple, and you might not even need to cut. So we're going to look at what research actually says about bulking and caloric surpluses, how much of a surplus you actually need, and why bulking might just be making your cut significantly harder than it needs to be. So bulking has been around for as long as I've been alive and longer, but the problem is most people don't bulk efficiently. So that's caused a lot of question within the fitness industry. So here's the real question: does eating more actually lead to more muscle growth? Surprisingly, there isn't much, if any, well-controlled research showing that a large caloric surplus, or any caloric surplus, results in significantly greater myofibrillar protein synthesis, or muscle protein synthesis, than maintenance calories, assuming the protein intake is matched. That's an important thing, assuming the protein intake is matched, and we're going to come back to that later. So that means that the extra food might not be doing as much as people think it is for muscle growth, and that it could just be adding unnecessary fat that you're going to have to cut off later. But one counterpoint to this is that when you are in a caloric surplus, assuming your macro ratios are the same as when you're in a maintenance, you will automatically be consuming more protein. And we all know that you need protein to repair and grow muscle, so that could just be the reason why. But like I said, we'll explore that in a bit more detail later on. Right, so I appreciate this is a vast opposition to what the general consensus has been for God knows how many years in terms of how to build muscle efficiently and effectively. But I'm going to guide you through what is potentially the better way to build muscle without as much fat gain as the traditional bulking method. So the first one is a controlled surplus or maintenance gains. So instead of eating a 500 to 1000 calorie surplus, stick to around 150 to 300 calorie surplus to ensure minimal fat gain while still maximizing muscle growth, because a study found that subjects in a controlled surplus gained muscle as nearly at the same rate as those in a large surplus, but with significantly less fat gain. Now I know this sounds contradictory to what I've been saying, that you don't need to be in a surplus, but because total daily energy expenditure is really hard to accurately calculate and get it proper close to what the genuine total daily energy expenditure is, being in that 150 to 300 calorie surplus ensures you are at least in maintenance calories, if not slightly above it. It just minimizes the risk or the potential of you being in a caloric deficit. Number two is that protein intake is the key factor. So like I said before, there are no studies to show that a caloric surplus is more beneficial for muscle growth than maintenance gains, assuming protein intake is matched. So you can kind of take from that it's protein intake that is causing the higher levels of muscle growth during bulking phases. So research indicates that hitting your protein target of around 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight daily is far more important than just eating excess calories. So this suggests that any extra muscle growth during a bulk may simply be due to increased protein intake rather than the caloric surplus itself. And the final point is training quality over quantity, and I've massively experienced this myself in the last few months. So instead of focusing on weight gain, emphasize progressive overload and sufficient recovery, because studies suggest that training frequency and intensity play a bigger role in hypertrophy than a large caloric intake. Now, if you want to know the main thing that will cause hypertrophy, the only thing you really need to focus on, click on the video in the top right corner. It's one of my best and, to be honest, my favorite video to film because I love the science that video goes into. So if you're interested in that stuff, click the card in the top corner of the video. So here's the real takeaway. If you're not that fussed about gaining fat, fine, bulk, you might gain more muscle, but we don't really know. So if you are wanting to be lean and having muscle, bulking might make it harder for you to achieve that in the long run. So the more fat you gain, the harder and longer your cut will be, and potentially increasing the amount of muscle loss you experience in the process. So lean gaining allows you to stay relatively lean year round while still making significant progress in muscle mass. And because we don't have solid, well-controlled studies proving that a caloric surplus beyond maintenance leads to greater muscle gain than maintenance calories assuming protein is matched, you might just be overeating for no reason. So to recap, here's what you actually need to know from this video. A small caloric surplus of 150 to 300 calories is just as effective for muscle gain as traditional bulking. Prioritizing protein intake of 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight daily is key to maximizing muscle protein synthesis. A well-structured resistance training program with progressive overload is far more important than eating a massive surplus, and bulking can make cutting significantly harder, making lean gaining the better long-term approach. So if you're looking to maximize muscle growth while staying relatively lean, ditch the old school bulking mentality and start training and eating smarter. So what's your experience with bulking? Have you tried lean gaining instead? Let me know in the comments. And if you want a fully personalized by me training and nutrition program, all backed by science, head to the link in the description and you can pick your perfect plan there. If you're not too sure, take the quiz and it will let you know. And if you want more science-based training insights, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon to get notified every time I post, which is every Saturday at 5 PM UK time. As always, thank you guys for watching. Smash a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.